This beautiful little angel is made from a single piece of fleece roving. She looks very beautiful at Christmas, hanging around the home or around your Christmas tree. I'm going to show you how to make one. So to make our fleece angel, we're going to need a piece of pure wool fleece roving. The other thing you're going to need is a piece of thread. I use sparkly gold thread, but to be quite honest, anything will do. And a darning needle. This is a long darner. It does help to have a long needle. You'll see why in a bit. I'm just going to put this up to one side so it's out of the way. And I'm working on a dark background for you so that you can see the fleece more clearly. It is a bit slidey, so let's see how we go. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to split it lengthwise, and we just handle our fleece very carefully and pull it apart incredibly gently. That little piece has sort of popped out. We can just lay it back in again. It's absolutely fine. So having got our two pieces separated, we're now going to decide which we think is the fattest and which is the thinnest. And I think this one's the fattest, and I'm going to use this for the head and the main body. So I'll just put my thinner piece on one side for a moment. And what we're going to do is we're going to tie a knot in the middle of this section, and this will make the head of our angel. So right in the middle, I'm going to tie my knot, and we need to tighten this knot. What I want you to do is keep your hands very close to the knot in the middle. Try not to pull from the ends like this, because all you'll do is separate the fleece further and pull bits out of the end. But in order to tighten the knot, we want to keep our hands close by, and then the length of the fibres will keep it all together. So having got a knot there, we're going to look at that and say, well, this is going to become our head and face. And of course, you just use your imagination and look at your angel. I'm going to take here maybe around to about here and there. So spread her hair down. And how about that? That looks like the face of my angel. So to tie it together around the neck, what we're going to do is just from our separate piece of roving, in fact this little piece that's sticking up might do just well, is I'm just going to pull a little piece out, and I'll show you by pulling the ends. Can you see how this tiniest little piece of fleece comes out of the end? And this is all we need to tie up the top of our angel. So I'm going to take the very ends and just lay that across around her neck like that, and then we're going to wind this piece around very gently and all the way to the very end. That's falling apart there, and can you see how that's made a lovely tight band around there, giving us shape and definition to our head? And that won't come undone. No need to tie knots or anything like that. So we're just going to put her down there for a minute. And the next thing we're going to do is taking our second band. We're going to take another piece out because I'm just going to use this later. In fact, I want another two pieces. So I'm just going to pull them out here because I've got this bit hanging off the side. If you want to, you can also pull it out at the end, just pull little strands out. So there we are. I've got three pieces there, which will be more than enough. So I'm just going to use those to make her hands later. So with this piece that we've got, which was the full length, we're going to cut that in two from side to side now. So I'm going to put, this is the middle, and so I'm going to move my hands the same distance apart, and then I'm going to pull that gently with my hands further apart. And look, can you see it's separating in the middle? So I've now got two shorter pieces of fleece. Again, don't worry if they're not quite the same length. If anything, put the longer one at the back and the shorter one in front. So the longer one is going to become the wings and the shorter one the arms. Okay, so I'm going to take my little angel and I'm going to lift her up, so flapping the front over her face, and then putting her down there. I'm going to put the wings and the arms centrally in the middle, so bringing that top layer down. So can you see we've now got the wings and the arms are sandwiched between the top and bottom layers of our angel, and there's her head up at the top. Okay, so you want to get these quite high up. We don't want them coming down too far. What we don't want is too much of an elongated body in our angel. That does tend to make them look a little bit strange. So if you can keep the wings and the arms up the top, that's great, but we don't want to squish them too much. So we've now got our length of glittery thread. So around the middle of the thread, I want you to put it around the back of her neck like a scarf. And we're going to cross that over the front of her body and then take it around to the back. So I'm going to flip her over a couple of times here. So we flip her over to the back. Let's just move that up so you can see the back. And we cross our thread at the back. Flip it back over to the front. And we now need to cross the thread at the front. And what we're doing here is just making sure that this body is high and we're tying it high. There we go. So that we've got a long dress floating down and we've just got a short body up the top. And then I'm going to flip her over once more. And I'm actually starting to pull this tight now. But you don't need it too tight, just enough to give her waist definition. And then a simple knot at the back. And again, you don't need to pull it too tight, but enough to give her waist definition. And then I'm just going to put the second knot in to fasten that off. And that has now created, can you see? She's bound up, she's got a cross across the front and then a bit around her waist. And that is holding her together at this point. So with this over from the back again, we're just going to finish this off, and this is where the needle comes in. So we've got these two ends of thread that we've used. And now reaching for the needle, I'm going to now thread my needle. There we go. And this is where the long needle helps, but you can do this with a shorter needle as well. I'm going to go into her back, just about where the knot is, and then push that needle up through her head, and it's going to come out right in the top of her head. You can reposition it if you want to. Just get it to come out right at the top, and that's going to give her a nice angle to fly at. So we pull that all the way through, take the needle off, and then just to finish that off, I would just tie a little knot in those two threads, which then makes a nice loop. Yep. So we've got a loop from which we can hang our angel. So there's her front. Okay, so let's put her back down on the table and finish her off. We're nearly there. First of all, we're going to work on some arms. So we're going to take the top layer of fleece at the front here and then just fold over the ends. So you've got sort of a blunt end there. We've just folded over the wispy bits. And what I'm going to do is take one of these little pieces of fleece that I had earlier, and I'm going to wrap this round just right at the very end of her hands, so a wrist level, I guess. And I'm just wrapping it around and around all the way to the very end of this little piece of fleece. And it just kind of grabs hold of itself and makes a lovely little firm knot that won't come undone. And that is one arm there. So now we're going to do the same with the other arm. So fold over the end. That's it. And then hold up to the edge. There we take another little piece of spare fleece. I'm just going to tie it at the top, right at the end, to make very small hands, although clearly you can make your hands as big as you choose. And just remember, every angel is different. They all look different. They're all different shapes and sizes. and that's just fine. That's how they should be. So now I've got the arms of my angel here, and I'm just going to now spread out the wings. So we've got the wings at the back, which I'm going to spread out. There we go. And you can play and reshape these as much as you like, although sometimes the more you play with the fleece, the worse it gets. So yeah, just do what you need to do, but maybe not too much more. And then I'm going to spread out her skirt at the bottom, and I kind of like to spread this out so it becomes a little more wispy. You'll find there's some bits of fleece coming out the bottom. That's okay. And there we are. Let's move that up so you can see what I'm doing there. So I'm just spreading that down just to make it a bit more wispy. And take some of the very loose bits out the bottom. There we go. And that is our lovely fleece angel. I'm going to hang her up next to the other one now, and you can just have a look at her. And this is the angel that I just made, hanging up now. She's rather lovely, and again you can adjust her wings and her arms and her skirt just as you choose. I hope you enjoy making them. They're lovely, lovely items. Please have fun.